Hello there, good morning. Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good day, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Sorry, I started a little bit late today because I was running Aglaya to get my healer chest piece, and I did. I made it. It was awesome. It was a success. Hell yeah. Okay. Alright. Let's take a little time to get people to roll into the stream. Oh, one thing I forgot to put away. I'm gonna take away the sound bites. Okay. I think all's good now. Alright. Alright. Oh my god. I ran 2 rounds of Aglaya today. Like, as soon as I was ready, this morning, after I made my breakfast and everything, as soon as that happened, I went to run Aglaya and I got 2 rounds of it. The first round, there wasn't any healer chest piece at all that dropped, which was a huge disappointment in my opinion. But the second time, there wasn't any drop until the last boss, and then I got the chest piece by rolling 76. What a shitty roll number, but yet I got it. Great luck today. It's gonna set a great tone for the rest of the day, I hope. I don't know what I'm planning to do today. Maybe farming mounts? I don't know. What should I do today? Tomorrow I'm going to get my hair done. I have no idea if I told you guys, I told my stylist to just dye my hair whatever color she wants. So I'm basically her experiment. So I'm really looking forward to that. And hopefully she'll give me something nice. She'll probably bleach my hair. I know she likes to. I told her that she can bleach my hair if it doesn't destroy my hair too much, but it's like kind of hard to destroy my hair anyway because my hair is so thick. Very thick, lustrous, brown, dark black hair. Oh my god, sorry, I'm still waking up. I had my coffee, but I don't know why I'm still so sleepy. Coffee never works, huh? Slow day, huh? Damn. But then it is a Wednesday, so I don't blame anyone for not being in game or something. Is it a Wednesday? Yes, it's a Wednesday. I can never tell anymore. Life goes on. Moves on too fast. Sometimes I feel like I can't catch up with it, you know. Do you ever feel that life just keeps running, the engine keeps running, but your own car can't catch up to life? That's how I feel, bro. Sometimes, not all of them. You know what will wake me up right now? Eye drops. I have this really nice, like, cooling eye drops that 100% wake me up. Give me a second. Alrighty. Well, even though there's no viewers and there's nobody in game, slow day, slow day. Deanne and I are going to like remodel the basement a little bit. I'm not entirely sure how it goes. On May 16, the game's supposed to like fix the housing issue thing. I supposedly won a house, a small plot in whatchamacallit, Ishgard housing, because I was the only one who bid for the plot, right? So 100% I should have gotten it, but I lost to number 0, like a lot of people did. So I think they said that they have the data for it, so I'm probably going to win it. I hope. And yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna make the basement of that house into a nudible place as well. No. I want to make a room into a nudible room in that app because it's an FC house. So I'm going to make a room into a nudible room, and then so that depending on what book that I'm reading, I will like change the location, like to suit the mood or the environment of the book. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, okay? Because I can't promise anything. I don't even know if Square Enix will fix the housing issue whereby I can actually get my house. Anyway, I think it's time for us to start reading and stop talking about things that has nothing to do with the book that I'm supposed to read for nudables. Anyway, it is now 10 past 11 and it's time for me to get to work. Once again, thank you very much for attending nudables. And now we are going to start reading a book called Nocturnes by Kazuo Ishiguro, one of my favorite authors in the world. There are 5 stories in this book. It's a short story compilation. It's 5 stories of music and nightfall, so they are all music related. Hence, my outfit, the songbird, and the bird. So, we're gonna start with the first story. One sip of water, and we're gonna start. The first story from Nocturnes by Kazuo Ishiguro, Crooner. The morning I spotted Tony Gardner sitting among the tourists, spring was just arriving here in Venice. We would complete our first full week outside in the piazza. A relief, let me tell you, after all those stuffy hours performing from the back of the cafe, getting in the way of customers and wanting to use the staircase. There was quite a breeze that morning, and our brand new marquee was flapping all around us. But we were all feeling a little bit brighter and fresher, and I guess it showed in our music. Sorry, let me move my microphone a little bit. My apologies. But here I am talking like I'm a regular band member. Actually, I'm one of those gypsies, as the other musicians call us. One of those guys who move around the piazza, helping out whichever of the three cafes orchestras needs us. Mostly, I play here at Cafe La Vena, but on a busy afternoon, I might do a set with the Quadri boys over to the Florian, then back across the square to the Lavina. I get on fine with all of them, and with the waiters too. And in other city I would have had a regular position by now. But in this place, so obsessed with tradition and the past, everything's upside down. Anywhere else, being a guitar player would go in a guy's favor. But here, a guitar! The cafe managers get uneasy. It looks too modern. The tourists won't like it. Last autumn, I got myself a vintage jazz model with an oval sound hole and the kind of thing that Django Reinhardt might play. So there was no way anyone would mistake me for a rock and roller. That made things a little easier. But the cafe managers still don't like it. The truth is, if you are a guitarist, you can be Joe Pass, but they still wouldn't give you a regular job in this square. There's also, of course, the small matter of my not being Italian, never mind Venetian. It's the same for the big Czech guy with the alto sax. We are well liked, we are needed by the other musicians, but we don't quite fit the official bill. Just play and keep your mouth shut. That's what the cafe managers always say. That way, tourists won't know that you're not Italian. Wear your suit, sunglasses, keep your hair combed back. No one will know the difference. Just don't start talking. But I don't do that bad. All three cafes, orchestras, especially when they have to play at the same time from their rival tents, they need a guitar. Something soft, solid, but amplified, thumping out the chords from the back. I guess you're thinking, three bands playing at the same time in the same square, that would sound like a real mess. But the Piazza San Marco's big enough to take it. A tourist strolling across the square will hear one tune fade out and another fade in, like he's shifting the dial on a radio. What tourists can't take too much is the classical stuff. All these instrumental versions of famous arias. Okay, this is San Marco. They don't want the latest pop hits, but every few minutes they want something they recognize. Maybe an old Julie Andrews number, or the theme from a famous movie. I remember one last summer going from band to band and playing The Godfather 9 times in one afternoon. Anyway, there we were that spring morning, playing in front of a good crowd of tourists, when I saw Tony Gardner sitting alone with his coffee almost directly in front of us, maybe 6 meters back from our marquee. We get famous people in the square all the time. We never make a fuss. At the end of the number, maybe quite a quiet word will go around the band members. Look, there's Warren Beatty. Look, it's Kissinger. That woman, she's the one who was in the movie about men who swapped their faces. We are used to it. This is the Piazza San Marco after all. But when I realized it was Tony Gardner sitting there, that was different. I did get excited. Tony Gardner had been my mother's favorite. Back home, back in the communist day, it had been really hard to get records like that. But my mother had pretty much his whole collection. Once when I was a boy, I scratched one of those precious records. The apartment was so cramped, and a boy my age, you just had to move things around sometimes, especially during those cold months when you couldn't go outside. So I was playing this game jumping from our sofa to the armchair, and one time I misjudged it and hit the record player. The needle went across the record with a zip. This was long before CDs, and my mother came in from the kitchen and began shouting at me. I felt so bad. Not just because she was shouting at me, but because I knew it was one of Tony Garner's fake records, and I knew how much it meant for her. And I knew that this one too would now have those popping noises going through it while he crooned those American songs. Years later, when I was working in Warsaw and I got to know about the black market records, I gave my mother a replacement of all her worn out Tony Gardner albums, including the one that I scratched. It took me over 3 years, but I kept getting them one by one, and each time I went back to see her, I would bring her another. So you see why I got so excited when I recognized him, barely 6 meters away. At first I couldn't quite believe it, and I might have been a bit late with the chord change. Tony Gardner? What would my dear mother have said if she would have known? For her sake, for her memory, I had to go and say something to him. Never mind if the other musicians laughed and said I was acting like a bellboy. But of course, I couldn't just rush over to him, pushing aside the tables and chairs. There was our set to finish. It was agony, I tell you. Another 3-4 numbers, and every second I thought he was about to get up and walk off. But he just kept sitting there, by himself, staring at his coffee, stirring it like he was really puzzled by what the waiter had brought him. He looked like any other American tourist, dressed in pale blue polo shirt and loose gray trousers. His hair, very dark and very shiny on those record players, was almost white now, and there was still plenty of it, and it was immaculately groomed in the same style he had back then. When I had first spotted him, he had his dark glasses in his hands. I doubt if I would have recognized him otherwise, but as our set went on, I kept watching him, and he put them on his face and took them off again, and then back on again. He looked preoccupied, and it disappointed me to see he wasn't really listening to our music. Then, our set was over. I hurried out of the tent without saying anything to the others and made my way to Tony Gardner's table, and then had a moment of panic, not knowing how to start a conversation. I was standing behind him, but some sixth sense made him turn and look up at me. And I guess it was all those years of having fans come up to him, and the next thing I know, I was introducing myself, explaining how much I admired him and how I was in the band he had just been listening to, and how my mother had been such a fan, all in one rush. He listened with a grave expression, nodding every second like he was my doctor. I kept on talking, and all he said every now and then was, "Is that so?" After a while, I thought it was time to leave, and I had started to move away when he said, "So, you come from one of those communist countries. That must have been tough." "That's all in the past," I did with a cheerful shrug. "We are a free country now, a democracy." "That's good to hear." "And that was your crew playing for us just now. Sit down, you want some coffee?" I told him I didn't want to impose, but there was now something gently insistent about Mr. Gardner. No, sit down. Your mother liked my records, you were saying." So, I sat down and told him some more about my mother, about our apartment, the black market records, and though I couldn't remember what the albums were called, I started describing the pictures on the sleeve, the way I remembered them. And each time I did this, he would put his finger up in the air and say something like, "Oh, that would be the inimitable, the inimitable Tony Gardner. I think we were both really enjoying this little game. But then I noticed Mr. Gardner's gaze move off me. I turned just in time to see a woman coming up to our table. She was one of those American ladies who are so classy with great hair, clothes, and figure. You don't realize they are not so young until you see them up close. Far away, I might have mistaken her for a model out of those glossy fashion magazines. But when she sat down next to Mr. Gardner and pushed her dark glasses onto her forehead, I realized she must have been at least 50, maybe more. Mr. Gardner said to me, "This is Lindy, my wife." Mrs. Gardner flashed me a smile that was kind of forced and then said to her husband, "So who's this? You've made yourself a friend." "That's right, honey. I was having a good time talking here with... I'm sorry, friend, I don't know your name." "Jan," I said quickly, "but my friends call me Janek." Lindy Gardner said, "You mean your nickname's longer than your real name? How does that work?" "Don't be rude to the man, honey." "I'm not being rude. Don't make fun of the man's name, honey. That's a good girl." Lindy Gardner turned to me with a helpless sort of expression. "You know what he's talking about. Did I insult you?" No, I said. "Not at all, Mrs. Gardner. He's always telling me I'm rude to the public, but I'm not rude. Was I rude to you just now?" Then, to Mr. Gardner, "I was speaking to the public in a natural way, sweetie. It's my way. I'm never rude." "Okay, honey," Mr. Gardner said. "Let's not make a big thing out of it. Anyhow, this man here, he's not the public." "Oh, he's not? Then what is he? A long-lost nephew?" "Be nice, honey. This man, he's a colleague, a musician, a pro. He's just been entertaining us all." He gestured towards our marquee. "Oh, right." Lindy Gardner turned to me again. "You were playing up there just now. That was really pretty. You were on the accordion, right? Real pretty." "Thank you very much. Actually, I'm the guitarist." "Guitarist? You're kidding me. I was watching you only a minute ago, sitting there next to the double bass man, playing so beautifully on your accordion." "Pardon me, that was in fact Carlo on the accordion, the big bald man." "Are you sure? You're not kidding me?" "Honey, I've told you, don't be rude to the man." He hadn't shouted exactly, but his voice was suddenly hard and angry, and now there was a strange silence. Then Mr. Gardner himself broke it, saying gently, "I'm sorry, honey, I didn't mean to snap at you." He reached out a hand and grabbed one of hers. I had kind of expected her to shake him off, but instead she moved in her chair so she was closer to him and put a free hand over their clasped pair. They sat there like that for a few seconds, Mr. Gardner, his head bowed, and his wife gazing emptily past his shoulder across the square towards the basilica. Through her eyes didn't seem to be seeing anything. For those few moments, it was like they had forgotten not just me sitting with them, but all the people in the piazza. Then she said, almost in a whisper, "That's okay, sweetie. It's my fault, getting you all upset." They went on sitting like that a little longer, their hands locked. Then she sighed, let go of Mr. Gardner, and looked at me. She looked at me before, but this time it was different. This time I could feel her charm. It was like she had this dial going from 0 to 10, and with me at that moment she decided to turn it to 6 or 7. But I could feel it really strong, and if she had asked some favor for me, if say she had asked me to go across the square and buy her some flowers, I would have done it happily. "Janek," she said, "that's your name, right?" "I'm sorry, Janek. Tony's right. I had no business speaking to you the way I did." "Mrs. Gardner, really, please don't worry. And I disturbed the two of you talking. Musicians talk, I bet. You know what? I'm going to leave the two of you to get on with it." "No reasons to go, honey," Mr. Gardner said. "Oh, there is, sweetie. I'm absolutely yearning to go look in that Prada store. I only came over here just to tell you that I'll be longer than I said. Okay, honey. Tony Gardner straightened for the first time and took a deep breath. So long as you're sure you're happy doing that, I'm gonna have a fantastic time in that store. So you have yourself a good talk. She got to her feet and touched me on the shoulder. You take care, Janek. We watched her walk away. Then Mr. Gardner asked me a few things about being a musician in Venice and about the quadri orchestra in particular, who had started playing just at that moment. He didn't seem to listen so carefully to my answers, and I was about to excuse myself and leave when he suddenly said, "There's something I want to put to you, my friend. Let me tell you what's on my mind, and you can turn me down if that's what you want." He leaned forward and lowered his head. "Can I tell you something? The first time Lindy and I came here to Venice, it was our honeymoon, 27 years ago. And for all our happy memories of this place, we had never came back. Not together anyway. So when we were planning this special trip of ours, we said to ourselves, we've got to spend a few days in Venice." "It's your anniversary, Mr. Gardner?" "Anniversary?" He looked startled. "I'm sorry, I said. I just thought that you said, because you said this is your special trip." He went on looking startled for a while, and then he laughed, a big booming laugh, and suddenly I remembered this particular song my mom used to play all the time, where he does a talking passage in the middle of a song, something about not caring that this woman has left him, and he does this sardonic laugh. Now, the same laugh was booming across the square. Then he said, "Anniversary? No, it's not our anniversary. But what I'm proposing is not so far off. Because I want to do something very romantic. I want to serenade her. Properly, Viennese style. That's where you came in. You play your guitar, I sing. We do it from the gondola. We drift under the window. I sing up to her. We are renting a palazzo not far from here. The bedroom window looks over the canal. After dark, it will be perfect. The lamps on the walls light things up just right. You and me in a gondola. She comes to the window. All her favorite numbers. We don't need to do it for long. The evening is still kind of chilly. Just 3 or 4 songs. That's what I have in mind. I'll see you are well compensated. What do you say?" "Mr. Gardner, I would be absolutely honored. As I told you, you have been an important figure for me. When you are thinking of doing this, if it doesn't rain, why not tonight? Around 8:30? We eat dinner early, so we'll be back by then. I'll make some excuse, leave the apartment, come and meet you. I'll have the gondola fixed up. We'll come back along the canal, stop under the window. It'll be perfect. What do you say?" You can probably imagine this was like a dream come true. And besides, it seems such a sweet idea. This couple, he in his 60s, she in her 50s, behaving like teenagers in love. In fact, it was so sweet an idea it almost, but not quite, made me forget the scene I had just witnessed between them. What I mean is, even at that stage, I knew deep down that things wouldn't be as straightforward as he was making out. For the next few minutes, Mr. Gardner and I sat there discussing all the details, which songs he wanted, the key he preferred, all those kind of things. Then it was time for me to get back to the marquee and our next set. So I stood up, shook his hand, and told him he could absolutely count on me that evening. The streets were dark and quiet as I went to meet Mr. Gardner that night. In those days, I would always get lost whenever I moved much beyond the Piazza San Marco. Even though I had allowed myself plenty of time, even though I knew the little bridge where Mr. Gardner had told me to be, I was still a few minutes late. He was standing right under the lamp, wearing a crumpled dark suit, and his shirt was open down to the third or fourth button, so you could see the hairs on his chest. When I apologized for being late, he said, "What's a few minutes? Lindy and I have been married 27 years. What's a few minutes?" He wasn't angry, but his mood was grave and solemn, not at all romantic. Behind him was a gondola gently rocking in the water. I saw the gondolier was Vittorio, a guy I don't like much. To my face, Vittorio's always friendly, but I knew back then he goes around saying all kinds of foul things, all of it rubbish, about people like me, people he calls foreigners from the new countries. That's why, when he greeted me that evening like a brother, I just nodded and waited silently while he helped Mr. Gardner onto the gondola. Then I passed him my guitar. I brought my Spanish guitar, not the one with the oval sound hole, and got myself in. Mr. Gardner kept shifting positions at the front of the boat, and at one point sat down so heavily we nearly capsized. But he didn't seem to notice as we pushed off. He kept staring into the water. For a few minutes, we drifted in silence, past dark buildings and under low bridges. Then he came out of his deep thoughts and said, "Listen, friend, I know we agreed on a set for this evening, but I've been thinking Lindy loves the song By the Time I Get to the Phoenix. I recorded it once a long time ago." "Sure, Mr. Gardner. My mother said your version was better than Sinatra's on that famous one by Glenn Campbell." Mr. Gardner nodded, and I couldn't see his face for a while. Vittorio sent his gondolia's cry echo around the walls before steering us around the corner. "I used to sing it a lot to her," Mr. Gardner said. "You know, I think she would like to hear it tonight. You're familiar with the tune?" My guitar was out of the case by this time, so I played a few bars of the song. "Pick it up," he said, "up to E flat. That's how I did it on the album." So I played the chords in that key, and after maybe a whole verse had gone, Mr. Gardner began to sing, very softly under his breath, like he could only half remember the words, but his voice resonated well in the quiet canal. In fact, it sounded really beautiful. And for a moment, it was like I was a boy again, back in that apartment, lying on the carpet while my mother sat on the sofa, exhausted, or maybe heartbroken, while Tony Gardner's album spun in the corner of the room. Mr. Gardner broke off suddenly and said, "Okay, we'll do Phoenix in E flat. Then maybe I fall in love too easily like we planned, and we'll finish with One for My Baby. That'll be enough. She won't listen any more than that." She seemed to sink back into his thought after that, and we drifted along through the darkness to the sound of Vittoria's gentle splashes. "Mr. Gardner," I said eventually, "I hope you don't mind me asking, but is Mrs. Gardner expecting this recital, or is this going to be a wonderful surprise?" He sighed heavily, then said, "I guess we'll have to put up this in the wonderful surprise category." Then he added, "Lord knows how he should react. We might not make it all the way to One for My Baby." Victoria steered us round another corner, and suddenly there was laughter and music, and we were drifting past a large, brightly lit restaurant. "Oh, thank you, Tochiet." "Hello there. Thank you. I think this is the first time." "Oh, my god, I don't know why, but I didn't hear that you follow. Thank you, Tochiet, for the follow. Thank you so much. Oh my god. Thank you." My apologies. I didn't hear it. I'll do an ara ara for you. Okay? Let me have a sip of water as you redeemed. Yeah, ara for Tochiet. I don't know why I didn't hear it. It's so weird. No, for Tochiet. Oh, Ariana Grande. Hello, thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Tochiet, for the follow, and for the follow, I'm gonna give you a special ara. Alright? Ara, Tochiet-san. There you go. That's an ara just for you, Tochiet. Thank you for the hydrate redemption. I really, I really forgot to drink. Thank you so much. Okay, let us continue. And also, 96 followers. 96 is my favorite number for very, very good reasons. And thank you so much for the follow. A special Arara. Yeah. Did you catch it? Touch it? Clip it if you want. Thank you. Thank you so much for the follow. It really helps a lot. Let us continue. Victoria steered us around another corner, and suddenly there was laughter and music, and we were drifting past a large, brightly lit restaurant. Every table seemed taken. The waiters were rushing about, and the diners looked very happy, even though it couldn't have been so warm next to the canal at the time of the year. After the quiet and the darkness we had been traveling through, the restaurant was kind of unsettling. It felt like we were the stationary ones, watching from the quay as this glistening party boat slid by. I noticed a few faces look away, but no one paid us much attention. Then the restaurant was behind us, and I said, "It's funny. Can you imagine what those tourists would do if they realized a boat had just gone by and containing the legendary Tony Gardner?" Vittorio, who doesn't understand much English, got the gist of this and gave a little laugh, but Mr. Gardner didn't respond for some time. We were back in the dark again, going along a narrow canal past dimly lit doorways when he said, "My friend, you come from a communist country. That's why you don't realize how these things work." "Mr. Gardner," I said, "my country isn't communist anymore. We are free people now." "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to denigrate your nation. You are brave people. I hope you win peace and prosperity. But what I intended to say to you, friend, what I meant was that coming from where you do, quite naturally, there are many things you do not understand just yet. Just like there would be many things I wouldn't understand in your country." "I guess that's right. Mr. Gardner, those people we passed just now. If you had gone up to them and said, 'Hey, do any of you remember Tony Gardner?' then maybe most of them even might have said yes, who knows. But drifting by the way we just did, even if they recognized me, would they get excited? I don't think so. They wouldn't put down their forks. They wouldn't interrupt their candlelit heart-to-hearts. Why should they? Just some crooner from a bygone era." "I can't believe that, Mr. Gardner. You're a classic. You're like Sinatra or Dean Martin. Some class acts. They never go out of fashion. Not like those pop stars." "You're very kind to say that, my friend. I know you mean well, but tonight, of all nights, it's no time to be kidding me." I was about to protest, but something in his manner told me to drop the whole subject. So we kept moving, no one speaking. To be honest, I was now beginning to wonder what I had got myself into, what this whole serenade thing was about. And these were Americans after all. For all I knew, when Mr. Gardner started to sing, Mrs. Gardner would come to the window with a gun and fire down at us. Maybe Vittorio's thoughts were moving along the same lines, because as we passed under the lantern on the side of a wall, he gave me a look as though to say, "We've got a strange one here, haven't we, amico?" But I didn't respond. I wasn't going to side with the likes of him against Mr. Gardner. According to Vittorio, foreigners like me, we go around ripping off tourists, littering the canals, in general ruining the whole damn city. Some days, if he's in a bad mood, he claimed that we are muggers, rapists even. I asked him once to his face if it was true he was going around saying such things, and he swore it was all packs of lies. How could he be a racist when he had a Jewish aunt he adored like a mother? But one afternoon I was killing time between sets, leaning over a bridge in Dosso Duro, and a gondola passed underneath. There were 3 tourists sitting in it, and Vittorio standing over them with his oar, holding forth for the world to hear, coming out of this very same rubbish. So he can meet my eyes all he likes. He gets no camaraderie from me. Let me tell you a little secret, Mr. Gardner suddenly said. A little secret about performance. One pro to another. It's quite simple. You've got to know something. Doesn't matter what it is, you've got to know something about your audience. Something that for you, in your mind, distinguishes the audience from one you sang to the night before. Let's say you're in Milwaukee. You've got to ask yourself, what's different? What's special about Milwaukee audience? What makes it different from a Madison audience? Can't think of anything. You just keep trying until you do. Milwaukee, Milwaukee. They have good pork chops in Milwaukee. That'll work. That's what you use when you step out there. You don't have to say a word to them. It's what's in your mind when you sing to them. These people in front of you, they are the ones who eat good pork chops. They have high standards when it comes to pork chops. You understand what I'm saying? That way the audience becomes someone you know, someone you can perform to. There, that's my secret. One pro to another. Well, thank you, Mr. Gardner. I've never thought about it that way. A tip from someone like you, I won't forget it. So tonight, he went on, we are performing for Lindy. Lindy is the audience. So, I'm going to tell you something about Lindy. You want to hear about Lindy? Of course, Mr. Gardner, I said. I would like to hear all about her very much. For the next 20 minutes or so, we sat in that gondola, drifting round and round while Mr. Gardner talked. Sometimes his voice went down to a murmur, like he was talking to himself. Other times, when a lamp or a passing window threw some lights across our boat, he would remember me, raise his voice, and say something like, "You understand what I'm saying, friend?" His wife, he told me, had come from a small town in Minnesota, in the middle of America, where her school teachers gave her a hard time because she was always looking at magazines of movie stars instead of studying. What these ladies never realized was that Lindy had a big plan. Look at her now. Rich, beautiful, travel all over the world. And those school teachers, where are they now? What kind of lives have they had? If they had looked at a few more movie magazines and had a few more dreams, they too might have a little of what Lindy has today. At 19, she hitchhiked to California, wanting to get to Hollywood. Instead, she found herself in the outskirts of Los Angeles working as a waitress in a roadside diner. Surprising thing, Mr. Gardner said. This diner, this regular little place off the highway, it turned out to be the best place she could have wound up. Because this was where all the ambitious girls came in, morning till night. They used to meet there, 7, 8, or a dozen of them. They would order their coffees, their hot dogs, and sit in there for hours and talk. These girls, all a little older than Lindy, had come from every part of America and had been in LA area for at least 2 or 3 years. They came to the diner to swap gossip and hard luck stories and discuss tactics, keep a check. on each member's progress. But the main draw of this place was Meg, a woman in her 40s, the waitress Lindy worked with. To these girls, Meg was their big sister, their foundation of wisdom, because once upon a time she had been exactly like them. You've got to understand, these were serious girls, really ambitious, determined girls. Did they talk about clothes and shoes and makeup like other girls? Sure they did, but they only talk about which clothes and shoes and makeup would help them marry a star. Did they talk about movies? Did they talk about the music scene? You bet. But they talk about which movie stars and singers were single, which one were unhappily married, which one were getting a divorce, and Meg, you see, she could tell them all this and much, much more. Meg had been down that road before them. She knew all the rules, all the tricks when it comes to marrying a star, and Lindy sat with them and took everything in. That little hot dog diner was her Harvard, her Yale. 19-year-old girl from Minnesota? Makes me shudder now to think what could happen to her, but she got lucky. Mr. Gardner, I said, excuse me for interrupting, but if this Meg was so wise about everything, how come she wasn't married to a star herself? Why was she serving hot dogs in this diner? Good question. But you don't quite see how these things work. Okay, this lady Meg, she hadn't made it. But the point is, she watched the ones who had. You understand, friend? She has just been like those girls once. And she had watched some succeed, others fail. And she had seen the pitfalls, and she had seen the golden stairways. She could tell them all the stories, and those girls listened, and some of them learned. Lindy, for one, like I said, that was her Harvard. It made her what she is. It gave her the strength she needed later, and boy did she need it. It took her 6 years before her first break came along. Can you imagine it? 6 years of maneuvering, planning, putting yourself on the line like that, getting knocked back over and over again. But it's just like in our business. You can't just roll over and give up after a few knocks. There are girls who do. You can see them any place, married to nobodies in nowhere towns. But just a few of them, the ones like Lindy, they learn from every knock. They come back stronger, tougher. They come back fighting and mad. You think Lindy didn't suffer humiliation, even with her beauty and charm? What people don't realize is that the beauty isn't the half of it. Use it wrong and you get treated like a whore. Anyway, after 6 years, she finally got her break. That's when she met you, Mr. Gardner? Me? No. I didn't come on the scene for a while longer. She married Dino Hartman. You never heard of Dino? Mr. Gardner did a slightly unkind laugh here. Poor Dino. I guess Dino's records would have made it to the communist countries, but Dino had quite a name for himself in those days. He sang in Vegas a lot and had a few gold records. Like I said, that was Lindy's big break. When I first met her, she was Dino's wife. Old Mac had explained that's how it happens all the time. Sure, a girl can get lucky first time, go straight to the top, marry a Sinatra or a Brando, but it doesn't usually happen like that. A girl's got to be prepared to get out of the elevator at the second floor, walk around. She needs to get used to the air on that floor. Then maybe one day on the second floor she'll run into someone who has come down from the penthouse for a few minutes, maybe to fetch something, and this guy says to her, "Hey, how about coming back up with me up to the top floor?" Lindy knew that's how it's usually played out. She wasn't weakening when she married Dino. She wasn't cutting her ambition down size. And Dino was a decent guy. I always liked him. That's why even though I felt badly for Lindy the moment I first saw her, I didn't make a move. I was a perfect gentleman. I found out later that was what made Lindy all the more determined. Man, you've got to admire a girl like that. I have to tell you, friend, I was a bright star around this time. I guess this would be around when your mother was listening to me. Dino, though his style was starting to go down fast, it was tough for a lot of singers just around then. Everything was changing. Kids were listening to the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. Poor Dino, he sounded so too much like Bing Crosby. He started a bossa nova album folks just laughed at. Definitely time for Lindy to get out. No one could have accused us of anything in that situation. I don't think even Dino really blamed us. So I made my move. That's how she got up to the penthouse. We got married at Vegas. We had the hotel fill the bathtub with champagne. The song we are going to do tonight, I Fall in Love Too Easily. You know why I chose that song? You want to know? We were in London once, not long after we got married. We came out to our room after breakfast and the maid was there cleaning our suite. But Linda and I are horny as rabbits, so we go in and we can hear the maid vacuuming our lounge when we can't see her. She through the partition, so we sneak through a tiptoes like we're kids, you know. We sneak through the bedroom, close the door, and we can see the maid's finished the bedroom already, so maybe she doesn't need to come back. But we don't know for sure. Either way, we don't care. We tear off our clothes. We made love on the bed, and all the time the maid was on the other side, moving around our suite. No idea we have come in. I tell you, we're horny. But after a while, we found the whole thing so funny, we just kept laughing. Then we finished. We were lying there in each other's arm, and the maid was still out there, you know. She started singing. She finished with the vacuum and so she started singing at the top of her voice. And boy, did she have one lousy voice. We were laughing and trying to keep it silent. Then what do you know? She stopped singing and turns on the radio and suddenly we hear Chet Baker. He's singing I Fall in Love Too Easily. Nice and slow and mellow. And Lindy and me, we just lay there across the bed together, listening to Chet singing. And after a while, I'm singing along, really soft and singing along with Chet Baker on the radio, Lindy curled up in my arms. That's how it was. That's why we are going to do that song tonight. I don't know if she'll remember though. Who the hell knows? Mr. Gardner stopped talking, and I could see him wiping away tears. Victoria brought us around another corner, and I realized we were going past the restaurant a second time. It looked even more lively than before. A pianist, the guy I know called Andrea, was now playing in the corner. As we drifted again into the dark, I said, Mr. Gardner, it's none of my business, I know, but I can see maybe things haven't been so good between you and Mrs. Gardner lately. I want you to know that I understand about things like that. My mother often used to get sad, maybe just the way you are now. She would think she had found someone. She would be so happy and tell me this guy was going to be my new father. The first couple of times I believed her, but after that I knew it wouldn't work out. But my mother, she never stopped believing it. And every time she felt down, maybe like you are tonight, you know what she did? She put on your records and sang along. All those long winters in that tiny apartment of ours, she would sit there, knees tucked up under her glass, a glass of something in her hand, and she would sing along softly. And sometimes I remember, Mr. Gardner, our neighbors upstairs would bang on the ceiling, especially when you are doing those big up-tempo numbers like High Hopes, and they all laughed. I used to watch my mother carefully, but it was like she hadn't heard a thing. She would be listening to you, nodding her head to the beat, her lips moving to the lyrics. Mr. Gardner, I wanted to say to you, your music helped my mother through those times. It must have helped millions of others, and it's only right it should help you too. I did a little laugh, which I meant to be encouraging, but it came out louder than I intended. You can count on me tonight, Mr. Gardner. I'm going to put everything I've got into it. I'll make it as good as any orchestra you just see. And Mrs. Gardner will hear us, and who knows, maybe things will start going fine between you again. Maybe every couple goes through difficult times. Mr. Gardner smiled. You're a sweet guy. I appreciate you helping me out tonight, but we don't have any more time to talk. Lindy's in her room now. I can see the light on. While we are going by a palazzo we passed at least twice before, I now realize why Vittorio has been taking us round in circles. Mr. Gardner had been watching for the light to come on in a particular window, and each time he had found it still dark, we'll move on to do another circle. This time though, the third story window was lit. The shutters were open. From down where we were, we could see a small part of the window with its dark wooden beam. Mr. Gardner signaled to Vittorio, and he had already stopped rowing, and we drifted slowly till the gondola was directly beneath the window. One moment, please. Good morning, Exia. Good morning. Mr. Gardner stood up, making the boat rock alarmingly again, and Victoria had to quickly move to steady us. Then Mr. Gardner called up, much too softly, Lindy? Lindy! Finally, he called out much louder, Lindy! A hand pushed the shutters out wider, and a figure came onto the narrow balcony. A lantern was fixed to the palazzo. Was not far above us, but the light wasn't good enough, and Mrs. Gardner wasn't much more than a silhouette. I could see, though, that she had put her hair up since I had met her in the piazza, maybe for their dinner earlier on. That you, sweetie? She leaned over the balcony rail. I thought you'd been kidnapped or something. You had me all anxious. Don't be foolish, honey. What could happen in a town like this? Anyway, I left you that note. I didn't see any note, sweetie. I left you a note just so you wouldn't get anxious. Where is this? Where is this note? What did it say? I don't remember, honey. Mr. Gardner now sounded irritated. This is just a regular note. I'm saying I'd gone out to buy cigarettes or something. Is that what you're doing down there, buying cigarettes? No, honey. This is something different. I'm going to sing to you. Is this some sort of joke? No, honey. It isn't a joke. This is Venice. It's what people do here. He gestured around to me and Vittorio like our being there proved his point. It's kind of chilly for me out here, sweetie. Mr. Gardner did a big sigh. Then you can listen from inside the room. Go back in there, honey. Make yourself comfortable. Just leave the windows open and you'll hear us just fine. He went on gazing down at him for a while, and he went on gazing back up, neither of them saying anything. Then she had gone inside, and Mr. Gardner seemed disappointed, even though this was exactly what he had suggested she should do. He lowered his head with another sigh, and I could tell he was hesitating about going ahead, so I said, Come on, Mr. Gardner. Let's do it. Let's do by the time I get to the Phoenix. And I gently played a little opening figure. No beat yet. The sort of thing that could lead into a song or just as easily fade away. I tried to make it sound like America. Sad roadside bars to big long highways. And I guess I was thinking too of my mother. The way I had come into the room and to see her on the sofa, gazing at her record sleeve with its picture of an American road, or maybe some of the singer sitting in an American car. What I mean is, I tried to play it so my mother would have recognized it as coming from that same world, the world on her record sleeve. Then, before I realized it, before I had picked up any steady beat, Mr. Gardner started singing. His posture, standing on the gondola, was pretty unsteady. I was afraid he would lose his balance at any moment, but his voice came out just the way I remembered it. Gentle, almost husky, but with a huge amount of body, like he was coming through an invisible mic. Unlike all the best American singers, there was just that weariness in his voice, even the hint of hesitation, like he's not a man accustomed to laying open his heart this way. That's how all the greats do it. We went through that song full of traveling and goodbye. An American man leaving his woman, he keeps thinking of her as he passes through the towns one by one, verse by verse. Phoenix, Albuquerque, Oklahoma, driving down a long road the way my mother never could. If only we could leave things behind like that. I guess that's what my mother would have thought. If only sadness could be like that. We came to the end and Mr. Gardner said, "Okay, let's go straight to the next one. I fall in love too easily." This is my first time playing with Mr. Gardner. I had to feel my way around everything, but we managed okay. After what he had told me about this song, I kept looking up at that window. There was nothing from Mrs. Gardner. No movement, no sound, nothing. Then we finished, and the quiet and the dark settled around us. Somewhere nearby, I could hear a neighbor pushing open shutters, maybe to hear better, but nothing from Mrs. Gardner's window. We did one for my baby very slowly, virtually no beat at all, and then everything was silent again. We went on looking up at the window, and then at last, maybe for a full minute, we heard it. You could just make it out, but there was no mistaking it. Mrs. Gardner was up there sobbing. "We did it, Mr. Gardner," I whispered. "We did it. We got her by the heart." But Mr. Gardner didn't seem pleased. He shook his head tiredly and sat down and gestured to Victoria. "Take us round the other side." This time I went in. As we started to move again, I thought he was avoiding looking at me, as almost like he was ashamed of what we had just done. I began thinking maybe this whole plan had been some kind of a malicious joke. For all I knew, these songs all held horrible meanings for Mrs. Gardner, so I put my guitar away and sat there, maybe a bit sullen. That's how we traveled for a while. Then we came out to a much wider canal, and immediately a water taxi coming to the other way rushed past us, making little waves under the gondola. But we are nearly up to the front of Mr. Gardner's palazzo, and Vittorio let us drift towards the quay. I said, "Mr. Gardner, you have been an important part of my growing up. Tonight has been a very special night for me. If we just say goodbye now and I never saw you again, I know for the rest of my life I'll always be wondering. So, Mr. Gardner, please just tell me. Just now, was Mrs. Gardner crying because she was happy or because she was upset?" I thought he wasn't going to answer. In the dim light, his figure was just this hunched-up shape at the front of the boat, but as Victoria was tying up the rope, he said quietly, "I guess she was pleased to hear me sing that way, but sure she was upset. Both of us upset. 27 years is a long time, and after this trip we are separating. This is our last trip together." "I'm really sorry to hear that, Mr. Gardner," I said gently. "I guess a lot of marriages come to an end even after 27 years. But at least
you're able to part like this. A holiday in Venice, singing from the gondola. There can't be many couples who split up and stay so civilized. But why wouldn't we be civilized? We still love each other. That's why she's crying up there. Because she still loves me as much as I still love her. Victoria had sat up onto the quay, but Mr. Gardner and I kept sitting in the darkness. I was waiting for him to say more, and sure enough, after a moment he went on. Like I told you, the first time I laid my eyes on Lindy, I fell in love with her. But did she love me back then? I doubt if the question ever crossed her mind. I was a star, that's all that mattered to her. I was what she dreamt of, what she had planned to win herself for herself back in the little diner. Whether she loved me or not didn't come into it, but 27 of marriage can do funny things. Plenty of couples, they start off loving each other and then get tired of each other, end up hating each other. Sometimes, though, it goes the other way. It took a few years, but bit by bit, Lindy began to love me. I didn't dare to believe it at first, but after a while, there was nothing else to believe. A little touch on my shoulder as we were getting up from the table, a funny little smile across the room when there wasn't anything to smile about, just her fooling around. I bet she was just as surprised as anyone, but that's what happened. After 5 or 6 years, we found we were easy with each other, that we were worried about each other, we cared about each other. Like I said, we love each other, and we still love each other today. I don't get it, Mr. Gardner. So why are you and Mrs. Gardner separating? He did another of his sighs. How could you understand, my friend, coming from where you do? But you've been kind to me tonight, so I'm going to try to explain it. Fact is, I'm no longer the major name I once was. Protest all you like, but where we come from, there's no getting round something like that. I'm no longer a major name. Now I could just accept that and fade away, live on past glories. Or I could say no, I'm not finished yet. In other words, my friend, I could make a comeback. Plenty have from my position and worse, but a comeback's no easy game. You have to be prepared to make a lot of changes. Some of them hard ones. You change the way you are, you even change some things you love. Mr. Gardner, are you saying you and Mrs. Gardner have to separate because of your comeback? Look at other guys. The guys who came back successfully. Look at the ones from my generation still hanging around. Every single one of them, they have remarried twice, sometimes 3 times. Every one of them, young wives on their arms. Me and Lindy are getting to be a laughing stock. Besides, there's been this particular young lady I have my eye on, and she had her eye on me. Lindy knows the score. She had known it longer than I have. Maybe ever since those days that in that diner listening to Meg, we talked it over. She understands it's time to go our separate ways. I still don't get it, Mr. Gardner. This place you and Mrs. Gardner come from can't be so different from everywhere else. That's why, Mr. Gardner, that's why these songs you've been singing all these years, they make sense for people everywhere, even where I used to live. And what do all these songs say? If 2 people fall out of love, they have to part and then sad. But if they go on loving each other, they should stay together forever. That's what these songs are saying. I understand what you are saying, friend. But it might sound hard to you, I know, but that's the way it is. Listen, this is about Lindy too. It's best for her we do this now. She's nowhere near old yet. You have seen her. She's still a beautiful woman. She needs to get out now while she still have time to find love again, to make another marriage. She needs to get out before it's too late. I don't know what I would have said to that. But then, he had caught me by surprise, saying, Your mother, I guess, never got out. I thought about it and then said quietly, "No, Mr. Gardner. She never got out. She didn't live long enough to see the changes in our country." "That's too bad. I'm sure she was a fine woman." "If what you say is true, the music helped her feel happy. That means a lot to me. Too bad she didn't get out. I don't want that to happen to my Lindy. No, sir, not to my Lindy. I want my Lindy to get out." The gondola was bumping gently against the quay. Vittorio called out softly, reaching out his hand, and after a few seconds, Mr. Gardner got to his feet and climbed out. By the time I too had climbed out with my guitar, I wasn't going to beg for any free rides from Vittorio. Mr. Gardner had his wallet out. Vittorio seemed very pleased with what he was given, and with his usual fine phrases and gestures, he got back into his gondola and set off down the canal. We watched him disappear into the dark. The next thing, Mr. Gardner was pushing a lot of notes into my hands. I told him it was way too much. That anyway, it was a huge honor for me, and that he wouldn't hear of taking any, but he wouldn't hear any, but he wouldn't hear of taking any of it back. "No, no," he said, waving his hand in front of his face like he wanted to be done. "Not just with the money, but with me, the evening, maybe this whole section of his life." He started to walk off towards his palazzo, but after a few paces he stopped and turned back to look at me. The little street we were in, the canal, everything was silent now, except for a distant sound of a television. "You played well tonight, my friend," he said. "You have a nice touch." "Thank you, Mr. Gardner. You sang great. As great as ever. Maybe I'll come to the square again before we leave. Listen to you playing with your crew." "I hope so, Mr. Gardner." But I never saw him again. I heard a few months later in the autumn that Mr. and Mrs. Gardner got their divorce. One of the waiters in the Florian read it somewhere and told me. It all came back to me then about that evening, and it made me feel a little sad thinking about it again, because Mr. Gardner had seemed a pretty decent guy. Whichever way you look at it, comeback or no comeback, he'll always be one of the greats. And that's all for the first story of Nocturnes by Kazuo Ishiguro. I know it's a bit short, but it's a short story. And I'm going to end it here because if I read a second story, it's going to take longer than 2 hours for sure. So I'm going to stop it here and pace myself properly. There are 5 stories, so I don't know. There isn't many viewers here today too, so maybe it will be better if I read 2 stories the next time. Yeah, and we can just end today's stream a little bit earlier, and then we'll do our thing, the end, which is farming for stuff. Farming for mounts. Yeah, it's a sad story. Yeah. But Kazuo Ishiguro's, I feel like compared. Oh, you wanna quote on love? Sure, I'll do it for you. See ya. Give me 1 second, please. You know what I found out? Reading Kazuo Ishiguro's writing is so much easier and nicer than reading the Before the Coffee Gets Cold, because of his prose. His prose is so good. It just flows. Like the way Ishiguro writes is like, it just flows so beautifully that it's so, like, it's just like music basically. Okay, a quote on love.
My dear Axia, please give me a page between page 10 to 128. And for the end, I'm going to look for another book of poem. Okay. 52. Quote on love 52. Sorry, I was looking for a poem. 52, 52, 52. Okay, quote on love for Axia. Do you believe that your past loves have taught you to love better? They have taught me to know what I want. In order to surrender myself to him, I had to forget all the scars left by other men. I'll read another one for you, just for you, Axia. Actually, there are like 3 quotes on 52. I'll just read all of them for you, okay? That was the first one. Do you believe that your past loves have taught you to love better? They have taught me to know what I want. In order to surrender myself to him, I had to forget all the scars left by other men. The second quote is, I could say that life has treated me unfairly and taken from me the most important thing there is, love. But the pain of love always passes. Hello, Beat! You're late. We finished the first story of the short story compilation. Lol. And I'll give you an extra quote. I opened a window and my heart. The sun flooded into the room, and love flooded into my heart. Those are the love quotes for you. I gave you 3. Axia, just for you. And for the end, I have 2 different poetry books here. Choose A or B. The end. Choose A or B. The end. Do you hear me? A. Okay. Phew. Oh, you pick a really dark one. Choose from page 1 to page 321. Page 1 to 321. Actually, no. Actually, you know what? Choose from 1 to 575, because there are 575 poems in this book. 321. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Action. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's a short one. This book is called Final Harvest. Poems selected by Thomas H. Johnson, and the poet is Emily Dickinson. What? A575? So you want 321 or 575? Oh my god, make up your mind. The end. So you want the last poem, is that right? Hello? Oh my god, I'm so confused. Like, I asked such a easy question and I got confusion. Okay. Oh, it's a very, very short one. It is written by Emily Dickinson in the year 1775. The earth has many keys. Where melody is not, is the unknown peninsula. Beauty is nature's fact, but witness for her land, and witness for her sea. The cricket is her utmost of elegy to me. That's all. That's the poem by Emily Dickinson. A great poet. I got this book in Australia, I think. Oh my god. It's so worn out. I repeat it. It is poem 575, written by Emily Dickinson in 1775. The earth has many keys. Where melody is not, is the unknown peninsula. Beauty is nature's fact, but witness for her land, and witness for her sea. The cricket is her utmost of elegy to me. Thank you. Emily Dickinson is an amazing poet, but she's very dark. Her themes are extremely, like, some of her long poems are like, I don't know, I just like really dark writers, okay? Alrighty. Alright, we can end our stream early today. Hey! Thank you so much for being here today. We got one new follower, Tochiet. I hope you enjoyed the stream today. We streamed Nudables, which is a reading. Oh,
Have you ever had a dream that you could don't you want don't
yes. Thank you, Exia. You know exactly what I love. You just know it. But yes, I stream Nudables, which is a reading event that happens every alternate day during the weekday on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. GMT plus 8. Thank you very much for attending our reading event today. Today we read Kazuo Ishiguro's Nocturnes, the first story named Crooner, out of the 5 stories in the book itself. I think the next stream I could read 2 stories, but I decided to end this one a little bit earlier because there isn't many viewers. No Sleep? Nah, No Sleep used to be good, Sam. I was there when it was good. Nowadays it's just shit. Nowadays No Sleep is just like part 1, part 2, and then part 26. Buy it from Amazon Kindle. It's stupid. I hate it. I hate it now. Like back in those days, No Sleep was actually good. Writing prompts too. Writing prompts used to be really good too. There's a podcast of No Sleep? Then listen to the podcast. Why do I have to read? So, Jay, you went to, like, seriously, are you in the right stream right now? Why do you guys always come in when I'm like trying to end the thing? No, I can't read the second story right now because if I read the second story right now, it's gonna take like 3 hours for me to finish my stream, and I don't want to go. I don't want this stream to go longer than. Well, if you want me to read something else, you can claim things on my Banuna Points redemption place. I can read more poetry. I can read more love quotes. There's plenty of things I can read actually. Claim it then. It's because you don't watch my channel more than Studio's channel. That's why you don't have enough Banuna points. Or maybe you are saving Banuna points for stupid shit like, sound bites. I could read something, I guess. What should I read? You guys save up points for the good ones? Damn, son. You got priorities, man. I get you. I understand that. I respect that, even. Okay. Just give me a moment. Oh shit, fuck. Sorry. Doing Borderlands stream? You don't even watch my Borderlands streams. What are you talking about? Okay. I'm looking at Emily Dickinson's poetry. How else do I clip? You watch it after that, so it doesn't count. It doesn't count to my life. Okay. Man. Let me try to find a book. I'm trying to find this book. Hang on. So, there's this Malaysian lady. I think she's a professor now. Her name is Shirley Lim. She lives in she's now a professor of English in the University of California. Can you believe it? Like a Malaysian lady made her way to teaching English in University of California. Jeez. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Sam. Yes, I always get lost because I'm stupid. Okay. So the first time I ever heard of Shirley Lim was because in school we have to study English literature, right? And one of her poem was a poem that we have to study. To analyze for the literature, right? So I would say that this poem is the one that made me very interested in poetry, and also made me interested in English, in learning English. So I would attribute my fluency of English. I don't know how fluent I am actually, but I will attribute my fluency of English to this poem, and I will attribute my interest in poetry to this poem, and I'll attribute my interest in English and poetry to Shirley Lim, who is now a professor of English in University of California. And I would attribute another person I have to attribute is my English teacher, Mrs. Oh my god, her name is also Shirley, Mrs. Shirley Ong. When I was 16 years old, she's also the one who made me interested in English. Thank you, Sam. That's nice of you. I'm okay, I guess. My accent is still fucked up. But okay, I'll read to you the poem that like made me like English, basically. Here we go. By Shirley Lim. The title of the poem is Monsoon History. The air is wet, soaks into mattresses, and curled in apparitions of smoke, like fat white slugs furrowed among the timber, or silverfish tunneling the damp linen covers of school books, or walking quietly like centipedes, the air walking everywhere on its 100 feet is filled with the glare of tropical water. Again, we are taken over by clouds and rolling darkness. Small snails appear, clashing their timid horns among the morning glory vines. Drinking Milo, Nyonya and Baba sit at home. This was 40 years ago. Sarong wrapped, they counted,
silver papers for the dead, portraits of grandfathers hung always in the parlor. Reading Tennyson at 6 p.m. in pajamas, listening to downpouring rain, the air ticks with gnats, black spiders fly. Moths swept out of our rooms where termites built their hills of eggs and queen zoom in the heat. We wash our feet for bed, watch mother uncoil her snake hair, unbuckle the silver mesh around her waist, waiting for father pacing the sand as fishers pull from the straits after monsoon. The air is still silent, like sleepers rocked in the pontoon, sheltered by Malacca. This was 40 years ago when Nyonya married Baba. That's it. That's the poem that I had to study when I was in school when I was 16. That what makes me very interested in English and learning English. Yeah, she has some short stories in this. I had this book called the Shirley Lim Collection, Passports and Other Lives. It's like a compilation of her short stories and also all her poems. I love this book. I really love this book. It's like one of my precious. Basically, one of these days I'm going to read the short stories that she write. And I hope you all will like her writing too. I really like Shirley Lim. I think there are so many underrated writers in that, like, that they are not big names. And I think when it comes to Nudible, I think I want to do that. I want to read books by people. Fuck off, Strudel. No fucking way. That's for sure. No fucking way. You can dream on. Hell yeah. No. I don't read smut or fan fiction. Okay? I read poetry and good shit, bruh. But yeah, I why are you guys here when I'm trying to end my stream? Why does this happen all the time, Strudel? It happens to you too, right? By the way, I was already asleep last night, but when I suddenly heard, I was watching your stream as I was sleeping, and then when I suddenly heard that you are like bidding good night and all that, I just suddenly woke up and I had to send you the moan soundbite. By the way, a reminder to you, Studio, fix the prices of your soundbites because they are really, some of them are too expensive. What do you mean more view time? I'm just talking shit right now. Like trying to entertain you guys by talking shit because there are 5 of you in here. And then suddenly, you guys decided to come and hang out with me in stream. And I can't switch off my stream because this is good for my analytics. Studio, are you gonna be in game today? I mean, I'm in game right now. Dian, do you what piece do you want to get from Aglaia? I already got my healer chest piece, so I'm very very happy now. I got it right before I start my stream today. We should farm some Aglaia, Strudel. I don't know, for your tank. Get your tank chest piece. You do be. Okay, I do be waiting for you in game. I'm just gonna be like AFKing in Dian's house, as I always am, while trying to find lunch somewhere. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You play when you get a main top. Okay.
I'll be waiting for that. Sam Caroli, aka Jay. You guys gotta, like, oh my god, I have so many books. It's insane. I always think to myself, one day if I really move to another country, what am I going to do with my books? Do I bring them with me or not? You know? Hey, Twisty. You still have to finish. Yeah, you still have to fucking finish the main story. I know, bitch. I know you gonna send me books. I'm gonna fucking die. I gotta open a PO box or something. I don't know. Wait till I get 1,000 subscribers. No, 1,000 followers, then I'll consider that. Right now, I don't even have I don't even have a Discord server, and DN has been like telling me to open a Discord server. Yes, you know Bit. You do know Bit. Bit is Bit Evelyn in game. You want to suffer in P2S Pro? Yes, join us. You know, Bit, you can tank with Strudel. Strudel is a really great tank. I fully endorse Strudel's tanking ability. Bit plays a paladin, and then I know that I know Strudel likes paladin too, but I think Strudel is pretty good as a warrior too. So I don't know. You guys can decide. Let's help Strudel clear P1S and P2S to get the books for him today, if he really wants to. We can PF it. I think we can. It's just the second day after reset, so I think the PF shouldn't be that bad today. Yeah, DN? What do you think? We'll farm Aglaia and then help Strudel clear P1 and P2. Hell yeah. Oh my god. See how long you have? That statement sounds very wrong somehow, but it's okay. I understand. I'm gonna switch off this fucking stream soon anyway. You just happy to be in stream. You can't even, there's no P. Yeah, see, you don't even know how to use your own. Gotta make more emotes for you, Strudel. We should make an emote of like spaghetti falling out of a pocket or something. I don't know why I have that idea. You're gonna cry? Aww. Oh my god. Oh, we got a bunch of babies here in this stream. Yeah, pocket spaghetti, exactly. Yeah, cry out of your ass. Pull your pants. The end's so fucking confused. Jesus. Oh my god, you guys. Let me know when you log in. I'm just gonna like AFK, look for food, lunch, and everything. Spaghetti. That's a stream for Strudel, not me. Oh my god! Twisty. Sad Pepe. Sad Pepe Trico. That's a very good one, by the way. It's really good. Why am I still talking? Why are you guys still here? Why aren't you guys here when I was reading the story? That's my question. Why are you guys like? Why are you guys the way you guys are? His friends are dead. Yeah, all of his. Like, what happened last night? It was like such a terrible encounter, one after another. All the friends are dead. Jesus. You're so reckless lately, Strudel. Thank you for the hydrate. Jeez. Strud, if you are playing Nuxlock, damn.
Stretch!
Oh my god, my friend asked me if I can go over to do my hair today. No! No! Today's game day. Nah. I can't. I have plans today already. Which is a lie. I never have plans for anything. Stuart Nuna Soul Link? I don't know. I'm terrible at. I'm very reckless when it comes to playing Pokemon, so I'll probably lose all my fucking Pokemon in like split seconds. Shave your head? No! I cannot. I cannot. My head is already about like 10 pounds heavier than my arms. And my arms is very heavy as well. Dude, guys, tomorrow, you know what's gonna happen? I have a whatchamacallit, I have a hair appointment tomorrow. I told my friend who is the stylist that she can dye my hair however she wants, even if she needs to bleach it. So I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow, but I'll update you guys, I guess. But I think you guys haven't seen me for a while now. I've looked different now, I think. I gained some weight because I've been so sedentary and ugly. Anyway, less self-deprecation talks. Not pink, never pink, never pink. She knows me too well to do pink. Yeah, I'll fucking murder her if she do pink for me. Like, you know what, Cyril? I'm actually looking forward to the day when I get a full head of white hair. I think I've told you guys this before. Yeah, my grandfather, my paternal grandfather, his head of hair is just silver, and he looks so awesome. And I hope that one day when I get my white hair, I'll just stop dyeing my hair and I'll just leave my white hair on, like the streaks of white hair here and there. I hope one day I'll have a full head of white hair, like just silver gray white hair. I want it. That's my aim. I want to have white hair. I think it looks so cool and beautiful. Yeah, keep it on, Cyril. Who cares? Don't be like my dad. My dad's like still dyeing his own hair every day, like trying to keep his hair not white. I don't understand why, because I think white hair is so nice. Why am I still talking? Why are you guys still here? You guys are holding me hostage. But I'm enjoying this talk, by the way. Even though it's all delayed. Can you give me a second? I'm gonna check on my mom if she wants to order food or she wants to cook. 1 second, please. You guys can keep talking about hair. Yeah. Borderlands? No, I'm gonna take a rest. When I say I take a rest, I'm going to probably like run some dungeon because I'm insane. Today's such a slow day, Deanne. I'm disappointed with the turnout, but it's okay. Not every day is gonna be a good day, right, Deanne? But we can make it better ourselves. Hell yeah. Okay, guys. 2 more minutes to 2 hour stream. Tell me a joke. Or, I don't know. Claim something from my Banuna points. Do whatever, bro. Like, you join stream when you see a notification. Thank you very much for doing that. Thank you so much. I truly understand, and I mean not understand. Sorry, I truly enjoy the support that you guys give me. Yeah. Damn son, I got my chess piece. My scholar is insanely awesome now. All blue now. No more crafted shit. I just need a better ring. Oh god. Alrighty. We got a request for card of the day. Card. Do you wanna ask a question or you want a card of the day? Bing, 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 bing. I got your favorite, the black cards. The end. I chose the black cards for today. So I assume it's the card of the day, yeah? Five time. Okay, card of the day for the end. Shuffle 5 times, cut, and then spread. Pick from spread. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cut. And then spread. This is for the card of the day for the end. You've got, you got 7 of cups. You're given a lot of opportunity today, but you don't know what to choose, basically. You have a lot of things to do today. So imagine you have like 7 things in front of you. And you're looking at it, you don't know which one to do first. Basically. Google the image of 7 of cups. Then you'll understand what I mean. So 7 of cups is you're just gonna be a bit busy today, I think. Not busy, but you have a lot of things that you can do, but you just don't know which one is the priority, basically. So the keywords for 7 of cups is possibilities, potential, imagination, and fantasy. So it suggests that there's many choices and paths available to you today, in particular today, and you are having trouble deciding among them. So nothing is certain. You don't know which one is better for you. You don't know which one is worse for you. But let your own intuition and your own intellect to guide you to do which one of these many things that appear in front of your eyes right now that you want to do. So maybe you want to clean up your house, but you also want to play the game, but you also want to help out your neighbor. So you're like, you have all these things that in front of you and you don't know which one is a priority. Listen to your heart and think carefully and rationally and see which one requires your attention the most right now first. So if one of the cup
is saying you need some self-care, you need some time alone, you want to do something for yourself, then maybe you should choose that, you know? So, yeah. Your card of the day is 7 of Cups. You have a lot of like different things and possibility that you can do today, but you don't know which one is a priority. You don't know which one is good, which one is bad, which one is whatever. But you can take your time and think about it and then decide it. Okay? And that is the end of my stream for the day. Thank you for everyone who turned up to my stream. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Deanne, for being here, taking care of my guest, which is only one of them today. But yeah, thank you once again. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I'll see you guys on Friday for Nudables at 11 a.m. GMT plus 8 for the continuation of Kazuo Ishiguro's Nocturnes, the second story.
Have you ever had a dream that you could don't you wanna don't.
Yes. And also, on Friday evening, 7 p.m. GMT plus 8, I'll be playing Borderlands with Sam Caroli, Strudo Explodo, and on Twitch. Yeah. Follow me on Twitch. Follow is free. You don't have to sub. I don't really care if you sub or not. That's not the priority. Sub if you can afford it. Don't sub if you can't afford it. But follow is always free, and you get a free ara for a follow. And follow me and look at my stream schedules. It's all written there, what I do when I go live. Follow me on Twitter. Please link my Twitter, Deanne, please. Follow me on Twitter to find out when I go live and see some amazing retweets and of artworks and pictures and whatnots and stuff that interests me and might also interest you if you are interested, and just interest everything, stuff and all that things, whatever it is. Anyway, I'm babbling, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Have a very good day. Goodbye. Love you guys. Thanks.